Hey, blessings, everyone. Hope everything is going well. We're going to continue with our English class today. We're starting with chapter number 11. Chapter number 11, book number 1, ESL side by side. Hopefully, you were able to complete the exercises for chapter number 10, as well as the workbook exercises. If you have not done so, please make sure you check out the video, complete the exercises, and do the best you can. For those of you that don't have workbooks or books, don't forget, take pictures so then you can actually answer the different sections. So we're gonna begin today with chapter 11. We're gonna be talking about object pronouns, simple present tense versus non-S endings. So S endings versus non-S endings. We're gonna be discussing have and has, as well as the adverbs of frequency. So let's get started. Another thing we're going to be doing is describing frequency of actions and describing people. So let's begin with the vocabulary. Please repeat after me. Year. No, not year. No, not year. Listen, watch my mouth. Year. Month. Week. Day. Weekend. Morning. Afternoon. Evening. Remember to pronounce that V. You need to have your teeth to the bottom lip. V. Evening. And then night. All right, well done. How often? Repeat after me. I, me, he, him, she, her, it, we, us, you, they, them. Let's practice this conversation. How often does your boyfriend call you? He calls me every night. So do me a favor and look at the picture. I'm going to draw some lines here to help you see what you have to do exactly. So how often does your boyfriend? Boyfriend, we're going to use he to refer to the boyfriend, and we're talking about him. Now, the impact that he has on the person, we're going to use the reflective pronouns. In this particular case, who is he calling? I, right? So you're going to use me. That's where me comes from. All right. So there you go. Let me make this a little smaller. And then you can use it to try number 1. So let's see, how often do you use your computer? Okay. How often do you use your computer? You would say, I use my computer every day. Okay. Number 2, how often do you write to your son? Hold on, you know what? Let me write the first one. So because we're referring here to the actual computer, your answer would be, I use it every day. Number 2, how often do you write to your son? So now we're talking about you and we're talking about your son. So you have to use the correct pronoun. So I'm going to back up a little bit so you can take a picture. Please take a picture here. Click, click. And then you'll be able to complete these exercises 1 through 6. Click, click. 7 through 9. Click, click. And make sure you complete all those exercises. Let's continue on. Repeat after me. She usually studies in the library. Repeat after me. Eat, eats, write, writes, bark, barks, speak, speaks, read, reads, jog, jogs, call, calls, clean, cleans, wash, washes, watch, watches, dance, dances, fix, fixes, always, usually, sometimes, rarely, never. Again, always, usually, sometimes, rarely, never. Does Carmen usually study in her room? No, she rarely studies in her room. She usually studies in the library. So let's look at number 1. Does Linda usually eat lunch in her office? No, she rarely, look at the verb, eats, right? Eats lunch in her office. She usually eats lunch in the cafeteria. So please take a picture, click, click. Take a picture here, 1, 2. Just in case, take a picture. 3 to 6. Click, click. Please complete all these exercises. Notice there's a lot less for us to do together because now you know a lot more vocabulary. So you need to complete this exercise to demonstrate that you understand how to properly use the pronouns, the nouns, the tenses, present tense, what to do with third person as well, and that you just put all the sentences together. So let's continue on. A lot of these things, if you notice, they're actually reviews of chapters we have already completed. So we have noisy neighbors. Repeat after me. I have brown eyes. We have brown eyes. You have brown eyes. They have brown eyes. He has brown eyes. She has brown eyes. It has brown eyes. Excellent. So let's see. Do you have quiet neighbors? No, we have noisy neighbors. Number 1, do you have a sister? Yes, I have a sister. No, I have a brother. Okay, if you were to answer, do you have a sister? Personally, you say, yes, I have a sister. Yes, I have a brother. Or no, I have a brother. In this case, what we want to do to follow the examples, do you have a sister? Look, it's not a sister. So you would say, no, I have a brother. Number 2, does this store have an elevator? The answer would be what? No, it has an escalator. Number 3, no, I'm not doing any more for you. You have to do them yourself. So please take a picture, click, click. Here we go, 4 through 8. 9, you make your, for number 9 here, you make your own example. So use your own example, okay? Click, click, take a picture. Here we go, well done. So now we're gonna read a story titled On Your Own, being very different. And I want you to remember, read along with me. Let's be consistent. Don't read too fast. Don't read too slow. Let's try to be steady and consistent. Here we go. Very different. My brother and I look very different. I have brown eyes and he has blue eyes. We both have brown hair, but I have short hair, curly hair, and he has long, straight hair. I'm tall and thin. He's short and heavy. As you can see, I don't like my brother. I don't look like my brother, sorry. We look very different. Who in your family do you look like? Who don't you look like? So in this section here, you need to, in your journal, talk about one member of your family, or you could do a friend if you would like, someone that you know, and compare. Are we similar or are we different? And let's read the second reading. Let's continue here. My sister and I are very different. I'm a teacher. She's a journalist. I live in Miami. She lives in London. I have a large house in the suburbs. She has a small apartment in the city. I'm married. She's single. I play golf. She plays tennis. I play the piano. She doesn't play a musical instrument. On the weekend, I usually watch videos and rarely go out. She never watches videos and always goes to parties. As you can see, we're very different. But we're sisters and we're friends. So at this time, I need you to please take your journal out and compare yourself with a family member, with a member of your family, another student in your class, or a famous person, and tell how you and this person are actually different. How to say it? Repeat after me. Tell me about your sister. She's a journalist. She lives in London. Oh, really? That's interesting. So practice conversations with other students, classmates, or with family members or people around you where you can practice these phrases, okay? Let's move on to the last reading that we have here for today. Close friends. My husband and I are very lucky. We have many close friends in this city, and they're all interesting people. Our friend, Greta, is an actress. We see her when she isn't making a movie in Hollywood. And when we get together with her, she always tells us about her life in Hollywood as a movie star. Greta is a very close friend. We like her very much. Our friend Dan is a scientist. We see him when he isn't busy in his laboratory. When we get together with him, he always tells us about his new experiments. Dan is a very close friend. We like him very much. And the last one. Take a picture, click, because you're going to need some of this information later. Last one. Our friends Bob and Carol are famous television news reporters. We see them when they aren't traveling around the world. When we get together with them, they always tell us about their conversations with presidents and prime ministers. Bob and Carol are very close friends. We like them very much. Unfortunately, we don't see Greta, Dan, Bob, or Carol very often. In fact, we rarely see them because they're usually so busy. But we think about them all the time. What's the word? Well, you need to look at the information before and you need to fill in the blanks. To do this, you might be able to do portions on your own. For example, Greta is a famous actress. She lives in Hollywood. And what's next? So you have to look at the different grammatical examples that we have completed in this chapter, and you need to fill it in. So I leave that up to you. Please fill it in. Fill in every line, fill them out. And let's do the conversation in this section, the listening portion. I'm going to read to you and please select the correct answer. Here we go. Number 1. How often do you visit him? I visit him every week. Who is it? Very good. Grandfather. Number 2. How often do you wash them? I wash them every year. I wash them, right? More than one. Very good. Number 3. Do you write to her very often? I write to her every month. Who is it? The sister. Very good. Number 4. Is it broken? Yes, I'm fixing it now. is it broken? Only one. That's the sink. Number 5. How often do you see them? I see them every day. Them, right? With the S, neighbors. Number 6. How often do you use it? I use it all the time. Number 6, letter A. Number 7. When does he wash it? It. Only one, right? The car. Number 8. Do you see him very often? No, I rarely see him. Is him, right? So, Mr. And number 9. Do you study with them very often? Yes, I study with them all the time. That will be more than one. Jim and Karen. Very good. Hopefully you were able to understand those well. So let's continue on. The last section. This is for you to write in your own words for writing and discussion. It's titled My Close Friends. Tell about your close friends. What are their names? Where do they live? What do they do? When do you get together with them? What do you talk about? Make sure you're not cheating. You have to answer these questions using complete sentences. For example, what are their names? Their names are John and Lucas, okay? And so forth. And let's get ready to almost finish up. This is a pronunciation exercise where you see that there is a deleted H. We know that in English, the H sound, right? The H sound sounds like ha, ha, hello, right? Hello, hi. Over here, as we can see in these examples, the sound disappears. So let's practice repeating these sentences with the sound that has disappeared. Instead of saying, I wish, instead of saying, I visit her every year, when you put it together, you say, I visit her every year. I visit her every year. So you almost don't really hear the H sound. So repeat after me. I visit her every year. I write to him every week. We see her very often. She calls him every month. I visit him every year. I write to her every week. We see him very often. He calls her every month. All right, so you could practice that. And let's look at the bottom here. Please make sure you open your journal, and in your journal, complete the journal activity. I always, what do you do always? I always play basketball. I usually eat grapes. I sometimes sleep late. I rarely drink cranberry juice. I never eat pie. Okay? So please use your imagination and fill in those blanks. And let's repeat the chapter summary, and then we'll finish for today. Repeat after me. He calls me every night. He calls him every night. He calls her every night. He calls it every night. He calls us every night. He calls you every night. He calls them every night. I have brown eyes. We have brown eyes. You have brown eyes. They have brown eyes. He has brown eyes. She has brown eyes. It has brown eyes. He eats. She reads. It washes. I eat. We eat. You eat. They eat. I read. We read. You read, they wash. You eat. Sorry, I wash, we wash, you wash, they wash. I always wash my car. I usually wash my car. I sometimes wash my car. I rarely wash my car. I never wash my car. All right, let's repeat the vocabulary, and then we are finished with chapter 11. Day, week, month, year, weekend, morning, afternoon, evening, night, long hair, short hair, straight hair, curly hair, blonde hair, brown hair, black hair, brown eyes, blue eyes. Well done. We are done with chapter 11, book number 1, side by side. Again, chapter 11, book number 1, side by side. Well done. Complete all the exercises, then go on to complete the exercises for the workbook for side by side chapter 11 in the workbook. Don't forget, I believe in you. Keep on working hard. Well done. Have a blessed day. Talk to you soon.